Hey guys, and welcome back. By popular demand, I am bringing you this makeup tutorial that I was wearing in my product obsessions video. It is all drugstore, everything, lashes, the brows, the lip, everything is drugstore. And this is a really versatile look. So I did intend for it to be a prom makeup look because it is so neutral that I figured no matter what color dress you're wearing, you can pull off this look. And if you want to switch up the lip, you can do that as well. Before I jump into the tutorial, I just want to let you guys know that I tried using tools that were from the drugstore as well, but found it a little difficult with what I had. So not all of the tools that I used are from the drugstore, but I am going to go into detail on the tools that I'm using and specifically the shape and what it is, so that way you can go out and purchase it at the drugstore or purchase a brush that's a similar shape versus me just naming off the brushes by numbers. But I did try to use as many drugstore tools, or at least I hope I did, to help you guys out. So with that said, let's jump into this tutorial. So I'm gonna start by applying a little bit of foundation around my brows before I fill them in. This is the Maybelline Dream Velvet Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation. And I'm going to be using a tool that's sort of like a beauty blender. I picked this up at Ulta. I think it was $4.99 for 2 of these guys. And then I'm going to dust some of my Maybelline Shine Free Loose Powder across the brows to reduce the amount of slip you get when applying a brow product. So just lightly brush it across. You're not packing on the powder. You're just kind of sweeping it across the brow. Alright, so now I'm going to start filling in my brows. I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Universal Stencil Kit. I'm not going to be using the stencils, but I am going to be mixing this dark brown and medium brown shade together and using a Wet n Wild angled eyeliner brush to fill in my brows. Now I'm going to go ahead and prime my eyes with the Maybelline Master Conceal in shade Light. I bought this a while ago to use as actual concealer, but it ended up being way too light. But because it's really light, it works great for an eyeshadow base. It really makes the shadows pop. So I'm gonna dispense this again on the back of my hand and then apply it to my lids with that same sponge. Oh, and by the way, this sponge, even though it looks small, it is damp. It's not dry. So I'm using it just like you would a beauty blender, where you get a little damp before using any product with it. And then with that same sponge, I'm going to pick up a little bit of that Maybelline powder and set that concealer on my eyelids. Mainly from the brow bone down to the crease, not so much on the lid because it'll take away from the intensity of the shadow. The palette I'm going to be using on the eyes for this look is the Au Naturel palette from Wet n Wild. So the first color I'm going in with is this really light taupey shade, and I'm going to be using my Smith 230 brush. So this is a small tapered brush. It comes to a little point, so it makes application of the shadow a lot more precise. And I'm just gonna place this into the crease and then blend it out. And then with the same brush, I'm gonna pick up the darker brown and start placing this color towards the outer corner and then softly blend it in. So you want most of the darker colors to be focused on the outer V of the eye. So you're gonna start by placing it right here, and then create this little V shape. And then afterwards, we're gonna grab a clean blending brush and then start blending it out more. But you want most of the color to be focused on this outer V portion of the eye to create that very cat eye look. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab a clean blending brush, and this is the same shape as the previous brush. It's just a lot bigger. So it's still tapered, comes to a nice little point to make it a little more precise when blending. This is a Smith 232 brush, and I'm gonna start just blending these shadows out. But again, you don't want it to get too dark in the inner corner. You want it to be mostly focused on the outer edge. So I'm gonna start right here and then just kind of start blending it all together. Using a flat brush, this one's a Luxie 213, I'm gonna pick up this medium gold toned shadow and just pack it onto the area that has no shadow on it so far. We're gonna put glitter on top of it, so it's just gonna give like a nice base for the glitter. Using a small tapered brush, this one's even smaller than the first tapered brush. This is a Sigma E45. I'm gonna pick up the black shadow and I'm gonna start applying it again to the outer V, but this time I'm gonna bring it in almost like you would an eyeliner. And I think the main tip I can give you for this part is just Work slowly, don't go too crazy with it at first because it is black shadow, so start slow and just start bringing it in this way. So you're just building the black. So it should look like this when you're done. It already looks like a cat eye, but we're gonna sharpen it with the black liner. So now I'm gonna pick up that brush that has the brown shadow on it and just softly blend this edge so that the black starts to go into the other shadows. Really, really softly though. You don't wanna go too crazy with it because then you'll have too much black everywhere. So now I'm going to be adding the black winged liner with my Maybelline Eyestudio liner and a Smith 203 angled eyeliner brush. And don't worry about it being too perfect on top, so you know, like the line that goes across the top, because I'm going to add more black shadow over it, but still try and get it as straight as possible. So now that the winged liner is done, I'm gonna pick up that same Sigma E45 brush, the small tapered brush that has the black shadow on it, and I'm gonna pick up some more black shadow and just start applying it directly over top of the wing liner. So it's okay if the shadow actually gets on the liner itself. So I like to start right here and then just go over top of the liner to give it that smoky effect. And again, one last time, I'm gonna pick up the brush that has the brown shadow on it and just blend out this outer V so it looks a lot softer. And I'm actually gonna grab the other clean blending brush and really blend out the edge because right now it's looking really sharp right there. So this is the large tapered blending brush. And just blend the edges. Now you have your smoky winged liner. The next step is totally optional. I'm gonna add glitter. That's what I had on in the previous look, but you can skip that part if this is all you wanna do. You already have the gold shadow there, but we're gonna add a little pop with some gold glitter. So I'm gonna start by using NYX's Glitter Primer, and I'm gonna dispense some of it onto the back of my hand, and I'm gonna lightly pat it on over the gold shadow using a Luxie 235 brush. So the glitter I'm using is NYX's Face and Body Glitter in the shade 08. So it's a gold glitter, and I'm gonna use that same brush while the glue is still on there, or the primer. I'm gonna pick up some glitter and just start patting it on over the primer or the gold shadow. And you can do as much or as little glitter as you want. I want it to be a little more dispersed. I don't want it to be so concentrated in one area, which is why I'm doing really light patting motions. And this primer really does prevent a lot of glitter fallout, but if you do get glitter fallout on your skin before you start your foundation, grab a piece of Scotch tape, roll it around your finger, and then just roll it. Oh no, I have black on my hand. Oh. Just grab that Scotch tape, roll it around your fingers, and then roll it across the skin to get rid of any glitter fallout. I'm just gonna wipe away some fallout and glitter with a makeup wipe and then move on to the skin. Before I cover my skin with foundation, I'm gonna do a little bit of correcting underneath my eyes. So for a corrector, I'm gonna be using this Rimmel concealer. It's called Hide the Blemish in shade light beige. So this is a concealer, it's not a corrector, but it is a really pink toned concealer, so it works great for correcting underneath the eye. So I'm gonna just apply it right here. So you can see it's really peachy pink, salmon colored. And I'm only gonna focus it in this little crevice area. I'm not using any primer because the foundation that I'm gonna be using, the one I placed around my eyebrows before filling them in, has a really good staying power because it is matte, so no primer needed. So now I can go in with foundation. I'm again using that Dream Velvet Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation from Maybelline. And for concealer, I'm going to be using the Match Perfection Concealer from Rimmel. The light one is too light and the medium one is too orange or golden. So I'm going to mix these two together. You don't have to do this, one or the other might match you. I'm just complicated. So I'm going to do more of the lighter shade and then a pinch of the medium shade just to balance out the color so it's not so white in the center. And then to set that concealer, I'm going to be using that same Maybelline Shine Free Loose Powder and the sponge once again to press it up underneath the eyes. With a large powder brush, this one's from Wet n Wild, I'm just going to dip it into that loose powder and then lightly dust it wherever I'm going to bronze. So right here, I'm just going to, you know, press it into the skin so that way the bronzer doesn't skip. For bronzer, blush, and highlight, I'm going to be using my Rimmel Contour Highlight Blush Palette that I mentioned in my Product Obsessions video. And I'm going to use this NYX brush, it's a number 5 brush, to apply the bronzer. And I'm going to really warm up my skin because I'm looking really pale right now because that foundation was way lighter than I expected it to be. And I'm actually going to use the same brush to apply the highlighter from the palette. I'm just tilting it on its side. And I'm actually going to use the same brush again one last time to apply the blush from the palette. If you want to contour a little more, I highly suggest grabbing a darker foundation powder. I'm going to be using this L'Oreal Infallible Pro-Contour and highlight palette. So this also has a highlighter in it, which is really nice. But I really like the contour shade. So I'm going to use this, but again, you can use a darker foundation powder for this step. And I'm going to use, again, that same NYX brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the contour side, and I'm only going to apply it to the hollows of my cheeks to give a really chiseled effect. I'm going to be using a NYX number 17 brush to just add a little bit of this contour powder to the sides of my nose. Alright guys, now that the face is done, let's go back and finish the eyes. So for the lower lash line, I'm going to go back to my Au Naturel palette from Wet n Wild. I just feel the need to say it like that when I say Au Naturel. And I'm going to pick up that light taupey shade again on a small domed brush. This is a Zoeva 231 brush, and I'm going to apply it to the lower lash line. I'm going to pick up the darker brown and concentrate that towards the outer edge of the lower lash line. And finally, I'm going to go in with the black shadow and apply it to the outer corner just so that the black smokiness of the wing looks connected to the lower lash line. And I'm using a Luxie 217 pencil brush. And I'm just going to grab that first brush I was using on the lower lash line, the small domed brush, and I'm just going to blend out this lower lash line. I think right here it's looking a little crazy. Oh, and one last thing, I'm going to pick up the highlighter from the Rimmel Contour Highlight Palette and use that as an inner corner highlight on the eyes. I'm going to coat my lashes in mascara before applying some false lashes. I'm using the Super Curler Mascara from Rimmel. I'm going to use this on my upper and lower lashes. Not too much though, since I am going to be using false lashes. And the lashes I'm applying are by Kiss. I absolutely love these lashes. I think, no, it doesn't come with the glue. You have to buy the glue separately. I'm going to be using Duo glue, which you can pick up at the drugstore as well. And these are the Natural Flourish Blooming Lash in the style Peony. Now that the lashes are on, the last thing you want to do is tightline to make the lashes look a little more blended in. I'm going to be using my Maybelline Master Precise Skinny Liner in black. And it's totally optional. I adding eyeliner to the lower waterline. If you like the way this looks, you can leave it there, or you can fill it in with black liner. I think originally I had black liner under here, but this time I'm gonna skip it. I'm only gonna tightline. And I'm just gonna spritz myself with my Wet n Wild Photo Focus Setting Spray, another product that was recently in my product obsessions video, and then I'm gonna apply the lip. And for the lips, I'm first applying Wet n Wild's Velvet Matte Lip Color in the shade Toffee Frappe. And on top of that, I'm applying Remmel's Moisture Renew Lipstick in the shade number 710 First Class Nude. And here you have the final look. Let me know if you're going to be rocking this look at your prom. If you do recreate this look, make sure you tag me in it, especially your prom photos. I would love to see those. That'd be so awesome. Or if you just wanna recreate this look in general. Also, let me know if you guys wanna see more drugstore makeup tutorials, or who am I kidding? I know you guys love drugstore makeup tutorials, so I'm gonna try and do more full face, all drugstore makeup tutorials. So thumbs up if you love that idea, and don't forget to subscribe, so I see you in the next one. Bye guys.